Alright guys, welcome back. This is going to be a video here. I'm going to try to do something a little new on this one. So let's talk about the cutting guide. So when you order a cutting guide from Dungeons by Hand, it comes fully assembled and ready to go. So you'll get it just like this, and basically it'll just stick right in here into there, and it's so strong you can basically push your Proxxon across the table, which is great. All right, well, since this one's pretty simple, what I thought we'd do is to try to add just kind of a little build to the end of this video. I kind of sketched out, and this is real loose, so we'll see how it goes. I sketched out, you'll see here, basically, and I apologize for my terrible drawing skills, but basically I'm looking at a platform here that's going to be about 1.5 feet by 1 foot, with some stairs up the center, up each side to a central top platform. So let's see how it goes. So step one, and this one does not really require Proxxon. I took a large piece of XPS foam here. I'm using 2 inches thick. And really I just took a straight edge and my tape measure, and I cut it to be 1.5 inches or 1.5 feet this way and 1 foot this direction. But as you can see, you know, we kind of need to prep for, let me get back to my picture here, my awesome drawing. We're gonna have to prep. There's gonna be this section right here that's gonna be kind of a little platform, some stairs, an upper platform, stairs, and another lower platform. So what I was gonna do is make those about 3 inches wide to perfectly fit, you know, 3 minis next to each other. And so I just got this scrap here that came off of this when I cut it. So let's get cutting. So the first thing you're gonna want is a nice square first edge to start from. So what I like to do is I just put the Proxxon guide in here really, really close to the wire itself. And so we'll turn the heater on here, and basically we'll just run it right through, cutting just a small amount off. And you want this set up so that it's running smooth and you're not pressing the wire too hard that it might snap or anything like that. And you'll see the wire cools down almost instantly once you turn that off. So for me, what I like to do next is to cut the other side. So for that, I just use my tape measure here, and I slide this down to right here at 3 inches. And just press the guide in, and my wire was getting just a little loose there, so I must have not had it tight, so I tightened it up a little bit. And you'll see that that sits perfectly up against there because we did a really good job of squaring that off. We'll just double check our measurement again, 3 inches, all right? So we'll turn that on, give it just a second, and then we'll just cut right through this. So, and now, right as we get this done, we'll have a real nice 3-inch long square. All right, guys, we're gonna start just kind of marking some things out on here. And so basically, right now, what I'm looking for is just to mark out the stairs here on the front. And so, since this is 1.5 feet, so 18 inches, we'll mark here 9 inches is going to be our center. And then basically we'll come over 1.5 inches on each side, and that will be 3 inches marked out in the middle. Now what I also want to do is I want these steps to be about 3 inches deep. I'm thinking they'll each be about 1 inch wide. That way a full mini will be able to stand on it. Now I marked out 3 inches there. And we'll just kind of mark a bit and try to catch our bounding box, if you will. 1, 2, 3 inches. Then I'll come back to this side and look at 7.5. So I'll mark 7.5 here. come over 3 inches, 1, 2, 3, mark the other corner. And you'll see there's some marks that are outside, but the nice thing is we're gonna be painting all of this and it doesn't really matter. So let's see here, we'll just kind of draw our lines on here. All right, and then I just like to use a straight edge, but for me, we'll just use this flat part here. And I just kind of lay it on those 3 lines that I made and just make a mark. And so there we go. This will be our stairs chunk. Now, to get the back part, also, my plan is to have kind of a set of stairs here leading up to a platform here. So, let's start drawing. We're going to come over here, mark 3 inches again. And I'm thinking our back platform might be 3 inches wide, so mark it 3 inches as well. Kind of get a 3-inch square here. Okay. I'll just mark the back platform area real quick, get a idea of what that looks like. I'm sorry if you can hear my dogs here. They're being a little loud today, so let me mark this one and I'll go put them outside. So I mark this corner. Okay, I continue to mark my various ideas here on where things will go. Might as well just continue this line. We'll just draw a long one here. Like I said, we can always just paint over whatever comes up. 1, 2, 3. Just the big thing is don't press really hard and you won't have a problem later with a line forming there. Just want to kind of mark it out. And usually I would just use kind of a lighter pen, but I wanted to make sure that you guys will be able to see what I'm doing on here. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and do the other side now. All right, so now that I'm kind of looking at this, I think maybe this might look a little better, maybe out here, a little further out. So what I'm thinking is maybe what I'll do is I'll build stairs to this small little corner platform here, and maybe some more stairs, and then I'll have a wide area up here. So let's just kind of draw that out and see what it would look like. Let's just go ahead and we'll just kind of freehand something on here. Maybe it's just a kind of maybe a curve. No, I don't know. Let's do a kind of a square first, and then let's get an idea of what a curve might look like. So if we just kind of freehand this on here, I think maybe if we did this, we could maybe put some columns or something, which might look kind of cool as you come in. And maybe we can try to make like couple little decorative things here. I kind of like that idea. Or maybe even we could make a nice rounded fountain or something over here, kind of based out of the corners here. So I kind of like that idea, maybe the corners. So what we're gonna do is we'll try to keep this nice square here, and then we'll build up kind of our stairs and we'll go from there. So as I kind of lay this all out, what I think I'm going to do is just cut kind of our next pieces, which I think will be right here and then right over here. And what I'm thinking is this upper platform will still be like the 2 inches thick. So the first thing I need to do to make the lower platforms, and then maybe the platform the stairs are going to sit on, is to cut this in half. Well, because it's a little thicker, I just turn the temperature up a bit because you want it to kind of flow through here fairly easily. So we'll just kind of push it and just get it nice and cut down the middle. All right. Very nice. So now we have 2 equally sliced pieces. The next step is to cut them to length. So we want them to be 3 inches again, or 6 inches long. And you'll see why here in just a second. So just slide it on down so that it's 6. Very good. Push the guide in, and we'll just take this and run it right through. Bing. Okay. I'll just take the next piece and run it through as well for the other side. All right, and then with our leftover piece here, gonna need a few 3-inch squares. Gonna need 4 of them. All right, so we'll cut 4 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so it's a nice thing using a good guide. You have 4 perfectly sized pieces here. All right, so now that we have our 3-inch pieces here ready to cut some stairs, you know, they're 1 inch thick, and so what we're gonna do is we're going to cut them to 1/4 inch thick pieces, so 4 pieces. Now, the reason that we're gonna do this is because we want 3 stairs, and basically the idea is that you're gonna throw away the top stair because the top stair is really the next platform. So now that we have these cut to 1/4, we're just gonna go through and slice them down. Now, one thing that's important is to make sure that while you're doing this, you keep the order of the stairs together. So one thing you'll notice I did on this stair, and it's not really that big a deal because you won't notice it, is I didn't cut my quarters quite right. Sometimes the heat from the wire will cut in a little bit more, and you'll see it kind of bows these out a little and different things because the heat really kind of gets in on them. So what we're gonna do is we just move our guide over just a bit. And one thing that could really help us is probably to turn the temperature down. And the temperature, you'll find, is just kind of it's a real game of feel what's cutting the material right. You basically want to cut through the material with the least amount of required heat. Now you see on this one, we cut them all perfect quarters, so we're just going to go ahead and cut all the rest. All right, time to cut the central platform. So what I did is I have another scrap here of the 2-inch foam. What I'm going to do is that I think that center part will be about 6 inches wide. So what I'm doing is I just kind of measure here, and that's 6.5 inches wide. That's because sometimes, you know, it's going to be pretty challenging to cut a really long piece on the Proxxon. It can be nice to basically just have kind of a workable piece. And so just kind of cut through this. If you're wondering what kind of knife I'm using, I just picked this up today at Lowe's. It is an Olfa knife, which are some of the best. Before this, when I was cutting the foam, I just used the $3 one from the store. If you're using a fresh blade, it works about the same. It's just these blades will last longer, so it might cost more, but kind of in the long run, it's worth it because you're going to be saving money on blades, and it's no fun to change blades all the time. So I'm going to set this here to 6 inches, just like that. Now let's get cutting. I actually have two sides that were, ooh, that was a close call actually. We forgot almost to square up our piece. So again, we're just gonna cut it real small piece off of each side. This might be a little thin, but we'll see how this handles it. There's one piece. Usually you want to turn your Proxon off right after each cut, but we're doing these cuts pretty, oops. All right, as many of you may notice there, I was pressing a little hard and I broke the wire. So it's a good testament as to why it's good to let the wire do the work for you and get these things through smooth. So we're gonna continue squaring up our block. So now we got two sides cut flush. Next thing to do, we're gonna set this to be 6 inches. Okay. So let's cut this edge. What I'm going to do before I cut the last edge, I'm going to move this out of the way. I'm going to bring this back. So I just got the two sides in here. I'm going to put them on here and just kind of get a good feel for, you know, how far I think it should come out. Because right now the nice thing is we can kind of cut it to whatever we want. So to me, make it a little less than 6, I think. Let's cut it maybe more like right kind of here-ish. Just looked right to me. So we'll put this back and we'll make our last cut on here. So just slide it down till it's close. Maybe right there. Looks pretty good to me. And we'll see how close I got it. Ooh, looks like I nailed it. All right, so now we put it in here. We should have a nice, looks like a little platform there. All right, now you'll see here, we kind of basically have everything on here, all kind of blocked up. And you'll see there's probably one step that looks like it's missing, other than turning these into stairs, which is this section here. So this is gonna be, there's kind of two ways to do it. You can definitely freehand cut this out with a knife, or we can try to do this on the Proxon on very low temperature. So let's go give that a try. As you can see, we got our base on here. We've got our Proxon table. And I'm just gonna get kind of lined up and I'm gonna turn this on and turn down the temperature just a bit. Now, we're just gonna try to kind of slowly cut this along those lines. You'll see if you go pretty slow on the low temperature, it doesn't go too bad. Now, the important thing here is when you get to the corners, sometimes it's good to stop real quick and, you know, kind of reassess where you're holding the foam. And also you want to make sure that you're not pulling too hard, because some of the most frustrating things that happen when you're hand cutting like this is if you're pulling hard on the wire and you go into a corner and you stop, but because you're pulling on the wire keeps moving and now you have a big hole cut out of your corner. So just be real careful. All right, so now we've cut this right out of here. Comes right out. very nice, and we can clean up all these little edges and we'll be rocking and rolling before we know it. All right, I apologize, guys. I think I hit record and it didn't record for me. So what I did was I just took that block that was right here that I'd cut out for the stairs. And I took it and I cut the top 4 pieces here into 4 pieces, just a little thicker than the sides here, because this was just a little thicker of a base. And you'll see that basically if you do make a set of 1/2 inch dungeon tiles, this is just approximately about a 1/2 inch, which is the same depth I made mine. So when you do this, you'll be able to butt your dungeon tiles up and you can move right into maybe this scenario as your plan. So that being said, let's get on to the stairs. All right, with the remainder of these stairs, we're gonna want basically each step to be 1 inch, because you're gonna have 3 inches across here. And by doing them 1 inch, you'll be able to make sure that most mini bases will fit on the step. So there we go. All right, so what we're gonna do, we have our stack of 3 here. Now you're gonna take the top stair and you're gonna take the left-hand side and you're just gonna run it through here. Okay, and once you do that, you will keep the single, okay, and you'll set this piece aside. Now, the next one, you'll want to turn it around and you'll want to cut the single off of this side. So you cut this, just like that. And now when you turn it around, the single we cut from the first side will fit right on top of it. And then you take the 3-place one, you can put under it like so. And when you put these together, you have a nice set of 3 stairs. Now these stairs will just move basically right onto here. So now you'll see we have 3 steps. And each step is 1 inch to fit minis. Now, what's really kind of cool, and I didn't mention before, is let's just move these off of here. If I were to grab the flat piece that I had previously from this stack that was right here, I could actually take the 2-piece one and the 1-piece one from this, and now I've actually made 2 sets of stairs just from cutting one of these blocks. So I think that's actually, I'll save these for a different project, and I'll make sure to keep the top pieces that I had with them, and I'll try to save a little bit of foam. All right, guys. Well, all that work's paid off. We got a nice structure here. You know, you can see we got lots of stairs. We got the things. So, you know, I think this is where we're going to stop this video. I plan on doing another one coming up soon, possibly with my circle jig, and we can make some nice columns to add to this. And then after that, we'll do sort of a finale, and we'll paint it on up, texture it up, and finish it. All right, see you next time.